No, I don't have, Chancellor Claire, I don't have any updates at this point. I do wanted to also share your sentiment with regards to our departing Board of Trustees. I wanted to thank as well for the service to our institution. And in my short tenure with this, with San Mateo County Community College District, I very quickly learned that you care very deeply about our institution and about our student, and it shows. So thank you very much. I've learned a lot from you, from being on many board meetings, and as well as many, as well as any other through our other events. So thanks so much for all your service.
You're welcome. Thank you, CFO Slater. And finally, I would like to ask if District Academic Senate President Wallace has any updates on behalf of the faculty.
Thank you, Chancellor Claire. Yeah, I think I'll probably chime in a little bit more when the AFT does their class caps presentation, but I would like to say for now that on behalf of the Academic Senate, I'd like to thank Trustees Schwartz and Mandelkern for being such great allies and supporters of the district faculty. It's been great working with you in my capacity, and I know many of the faculty really enjoyed your leadership and really appreciate your leadership and really look to you for some really strong leadership. So we wish you well in your future endeavors, which hopefully includes a lot of rest and rejuvenation. So thank you.
Thank you, District Academic Senate President Wallace. President Schwartz, that concludes our report.
Thank you. I see that we have a hand raised all this time. Cheryl Johnson. There she is. Can we unmute her, please? Good evening, Ms. Johnson. We can't hear you. You're unmuted. Your microphone is not on. I don't quite know what to do. Brian, do you have any ideas?
It may have been President Schwartz, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Johnson, but it might have been an accidental hand raise. We do all the time in Zoom meetings, and certainly there's an opportunity to address the board comments from the public if Dr. Johnson wishes to do that.
Okay, very good, thank you. So we will move on to the three units who have, if they have anything special they want to say at this time. AFT is going to have their own special report in a couple minutes, but is there anybody from AFT who would like to make any announcements? Okay, and Daniela Mayer.
Yes, and actually Rika Yanamura Fabian is also going to speak.
That's going to be, if you hold it just a minute, that's going to be for your presentation. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes.
No, this is for the AFT, the section for the AFT statements.
Just a statement. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi, I'm Daniela Maher, and I'm here with Rika Yanamura Fabian from Skyline College. I've been a faculty member in San Mateo Community College since 2009. I was an adjunct for 6 years, and I've now been full-time in the English department for an additional 6. I'm also the AFT chapter chair for Kenyatta College, and we are here today to represent the AFT Anti-Oppression Committee. The committee was initially formed at the AFT organized teach-in held in September called Social Justice Unionism in Practice from Part-Time Pay Parity to Anti-Oppression Organizing. As a team of rank and file members, students, and AFT officers, we collaborate on activities that social justice unionism requires, going beyond the standard wage and benefits issues. The committee is charged with building solidarity through active education and conversation on and actions against anti-Blackness, misogyny, ableism, cis and heteronormativity, and other systems of oppression that our faculty and students face. At one of our first meetings, the Anti-Oppression Committee determined that connecting student equity goals with class size was something that we all had the passion to pursue. As the delegates of the Anti-Oppression Committee, we are here today to present the resolution on small class size as an important social justice measure the district can implement that would have a significant social justice impact on our students. The full resolutions document was sent to each of the board members, but we will explain our justifications and refer to our specific requests for your support. We have been pleased with the commitment across the district developing since summer to identify and challenge practices that result in disproportionate harm for Black students and other students of color, first generation and low income students, students with learning differences, and other students who have experienced marginalization in higher education. In my nearly 12 years with the district, I've seen us grapple with the significant differences in success rates between student populations. These are important and difficult conversations to have, but they often start and end with the identification of these disparities, as the development of practices to address them extend far beyond anything that one professor or one department can implement. That is why this moment and SMCCCD's commitment is so important. It's an opportunity for us to actually work together to reach some of our equity goals and to implement anti-racist pedagogy across the district, rather than through a patchwork of ideas. We don't have to start at the beginning. Over the last 10 years, faculty across disciplines within SMCCD have developed and led professional development activities, identifying the beneficial effects of student-centered pedagogical practices and the need to implement them even more broadly into our teaching. These include, but are not limited to, the development of cohort learning communities such as Emoja and Writing in the End Zone at CSM, Puente at Kenyatta, training faculty to develop student-centered practices through professional development, like the Transforming STEM Teaching Faculty Learning Program, and connecting faculties, tutors, peer mentors, and counselors to approach teaching holistically. These are incredible programs, and we should build off them to develop coherent anti-racist pedagogy for our students. All of these interventions require faculty engagement with their students in a way that is completely different from the banking model of education that dominated the second half of the 20th century. We recognize that, among other factors that impact student success and learning outcomes, it is exactly the large lecture format that disproportionately impacts the most marginalized. I want to hand it over to Rika Yanamura-Fabian to further discuss why this is.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Hello, trustees and community members. My name is Rika Yanamura-Fabian. I teach sociology and social justice studies at Skyline College. I am also a Skyline chapter co-chair of AFT. I have been teaching in the district for 11 years by now, 4 of them as a full-time professor. Based on the background Daniela provided, I want to start with the rationale for smaller class size and why class size is an important consideration if we want to call ourselves as a social justice-oriented district. Class size and teaching methods are almost inherently intertwined. Large class size increases the faculty's reliance on lecture as a primary method of instruction and decreases the active involvement of students with course materials and their peers. Research shows that in four-year colleges, students are most dissatisfied about large introductory courses precisely because they lack instructor-to-student or student-to-student interaction, and the opportunities for questions and discussions are limited. This is no mystery to anyone who teaches with justice and equity as their goal. I teach sociology of sex and gender, and this is a very popular class for students whose sexuality and gender identities are not conforming to the traditional norms of heterosexuality and gender binarism. LGBTQ+ students take this class because they are hungry to learn about their community's history, because of their own personal experiences of oppression, and because they want to learn strategies for social change. How can I make these LGBTQ+ students feel safe and heard, and ensure that their identities are accepted and affirmed in the classroom in an anonymous big lecture class? Instructors who explicitly utilize an anti-racist pedagogical framework also face challenges in a large class. Anti-racist pedagogy requires not only an overhaul to the whitewashed course contents, but also student retention strategies to challenge the non-academic barriers to course success, including stereotype threat, racist misogyny abuse, previous educational trauma, and racial battle fatigue experienced by students of color, especially our Black and brown students. These strategies are very difficult to implement fully if the class is crowded with many students. If we really want to pursue anti-racist, anti-oppression pedagogy as an institution, class size is one factor we must consider as an essential element for student success. Currently, class size is determined by convention, room availability, and the decision has been typically left to individual administrators. For example, social sciences classes at Skyline College have a cap of 45, but there is no assessment about why 45 is the optimum size for the success of students of color, low-income students, and other students that come from a place of structural marginalization. Worse, it is a common practice to increase the cap of popular online or in-person classes to 75 and above. Professional development efforts on all three campuses have rightly pivoted to focus on anti-racist, anti-sexist pedagogies. This is great, but it is being done without examining one of the most obvious factors to student success. How many students is one teacher teaching in one class? This is an important institutional discussion we have to have if we really want to walk the talk of social justice. As the Anti-Oppression Committee of AFT, supported by the District Academic Senate, College of San Mateo's Educational Equity Committee, and the Executive Committee of AFT, we have resolved to ask the Board of Trustees the following. We ask the Board of Trustees to support the 25% reduction in class size for all courses during the pandemic, regardless of the modality of instruction. We ask the Board of Trustees to commit to delineating and implementing a future process involving participatory governance bodies to lower class size based on social justice and equity principles in future semesters. And we ask San Mateo Community College District to make a concerted, systematic effort in implementing lower class sizes, not to leave these decisions to individual administrator purview. We really appreciate the time today to bring this important issue to the board, and we have been so inspired by the discussions that have been happening across our district in response to the resolution. In particular, we want to thank the members of the District Academic Senate, CSM's Educational Equity Committee, and the AFT-EC for voting to support the resolution. Today, some students will be also presenting on the same topic at this very meeting. We hope to keep working with fellow faculty, the Board of Trustees, and the students in order to make our students' learning experiences the best as they can be, so that we do not have to keep reproducing the structural inequalities that have marked our society in the past. Thank you so much for your attention, and then our statement is it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, is there anybody from CSEA who would like to make any kind of an announcement? Annette Perot?
Okay. Good evening. Can we hear me?
We can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, good. Okay. Good evening. On behalf of CSEA and nearly 400 chapter members, I would like to take this opportunity to thank both President Karen Schwartz and Trustee Dave Mandelkern for all the years of service that you have provided to the San Mateo County Community College Board of Trustees. You have both been tireless advocates for the students of this district. I want to thank you for the support that you have given CSEA and for working with CSEA over the years. I would also like to congratulate Trustee Goodman on your re-election and congratulate John Pimentel and Lisa Petrides on your election to the board. We look forward to working with the board as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. And I will just take this opportunity to say that I've came to this district and leaving this district, I've always felt that the support is with the CSEA employees, and I congratulate your leadership over the years and all of them for all the hard work they've kept to keep this district moving in the right direction. Is there anybody from AFSCME who would like to do any speaking tonight? I don't see any hands raised. So now we will move to statements from the public on any non-agenda items. If there's any statements, I will remind you that we have a 3-minute rule and that members of the public are participating by Zoom. They should use your raise hand, which you just did, and members will be called upon to speak. So the first hand that I see is Jessica Silver Sharp. She can be unmuted. There you go.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Jessica Silver Sharp, and I'm a reference librarian and an archivist. I've worked as a part-time or adjunct faculty librarian in this district for more than 9 years, primarily at Skyline, but sometimes at Kenyatta as well. I'm so grateful to be working with and supporting community college students. I have a dynamic and a fulfilling career. However, I'm here today to talk about part-time faculty salaries, about fairness and compensation for my 600 part-time colleagues in this district. You may not be aware that unlike part-timers at nearby colleges, our part-time faculty are paid an hourly wage, according to a different pay schedule than our full-time salaried colleagues. The salary schedule for part-timers has barely half the steps afforded to full-timers. The part-time schedule has 11 steps, the full-timers have 25. This means that by my 8th year in this district, my salary had maxed out. At age 51, I'm looking at no step increases for the next 16 years, even as I accumulate expertise as a senior faculty member and earn high marks on performance evaluations. Equally importantly, our district's part-time salary schedule doesn't recognize additional advanced degrees part-time faculty have, such as second masters and PhDs. It goes without saying that these degrees are time-consuming and expensive to earn, leaving many faculty in debt for years. SMCCD is one of the few districts in the Bay that pays adjunct faculty at an hourly rate, which is often 30% less than full-timers with comparable education and experience. So these are faculty doing the same or similar work with our students. My question to you is this: why doesn't our district pay part-timers based on their education and experience? All of our neighboring community college districts do. West Valley Mission, Foothill de Pianza, San Jose Evergreen, CCSF, College of Marin, Chabot Las Positas, and Peralta. These districts all pay adjunct faculty a salary rather than hourly compensation. The salary system is a fairer, more transparent way to compensate part-timers. Like the majority of adjunct faculty in our district, I don't have a full-time job aside from my library position. This means that without step increases until I retire, and with college tuition payments looming for our high school sophomore, our family must ask ourselves if remaining in the Bay Area is even viable. Many of our part-time faculty are asking themselves the same. How can they afford to continue teaching in our district, given the high Bay Area cost of living? A fair solution is for this district to do what our neighboring districts did years ago: reform part-time pay practices and make them more commensurate with full-time salaries. The right time for making this change is now. Thank you for considering this important issue.
Thank you. Any other speakers for non-agenda items? Okay, I will move to the next part of the agenda, which is under presentations to the board by persons or delegations. 20-11-1C, presentation by the AFT relating to class size. You just heard two of the speakers. I will just inform everybody that they have asked to have a 30-minute presentation because of the heavy agenda. We reduced it to 20 minutes, but I have to give them credit for their creativity by putting their two speakers into a different section. So we've already heard from Daniela Mayer and Rika. So now I will introduce Marianne Kaletsky, who I think will introduce the student speakers.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to start by thanking all of you for taking the time to hear from us and our students tonight about this really important issue of class size and why we understand it as an equity issue. As you heard from Daniela Maher, over the summer, our union started an anti-oppression committee that's committed to advancing equity, including race and gender equity, in our union, on our campuses, and in the communities to which we belong. We invited students as well as faculty and community members to join us on this anti-oppression committee, and we're really pleased to have a number of students show interest and start coming to our meetings as well as our teach-in. It was these students who brought to our attention all of the ways in which class size is an equity issue and their experiences seeing how small classes can close equity gaps. So I'm really delighted to introduce 4 of them today who are going to talk about their thoughts and their research on class size and especially its intersection with equity questions. And those students are Hannah Hersey, Jess Jacinto, Michael Sagum, and Brandon Wong. So thank you so much for hearing them and to them for being here.
Thank you. So who will go first? Brandon and Jess are both unmuted, so I don't know which one wants to speak first.
Michael, there's another presentator. Michael will be sharing the presentation.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'm a little unfamiliar. I don't think I have permission in order to share.
You need to share the screen?
Correct.
You should have share permissions now.
I do not see the option currently.
I know on mine at the bottom, I have a share screen. Does he have that option? Or do we have to give it to him? Don, where are you?
Should we promote him to a panelist temporarily?
Yeah, I think if that's what will work. Yes, we did tell him he could share his screen.
Okay, we're doing it now, President.
There we go.
All right. Thank you all so much for your time. Our presentation is on limitations and conflicts of large class sizes. Next slide, please. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Wong. I go to Skyline College. This is my 6th semester here. I am getting my AA in Social Justice Studies, and my plan is to transfer to San Jose State University for a bachelor's in social work.
Everybody, my name is Jessica. I currently go to Skyline College. This is currently my 7th semester here, and my major is pre-law into women and gender ethnic studies.
Hello, this is my 9th semester at Skyline College. I am currently a social justice studies major, and I hope to transfer to SF State to do ethnic studies and to eventually become a professor.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a student at the College of San Mateo. This is my 6th semester and my major is English and Sociology.
All right, so we did some research on class sizes, and here are a couple that really came to mind, stood out to us. The first one is Springer Link. This study found that final grade diminishes as the class size increases, and larger impact on student performance could be attained by further trimming enrollment in small classes than by reducing class size overall. And another study by an MIT journal said an increase in collegiate class sizes leads to an increase in dropout rates and reduction in on-time degree completion. And this further speaks to the importance of reduction in class sizes. And finally, there is a University of Richmond study that found that larger classes appear to prompt faculty to alter the courses in deleterious ways to students. We are aware that these studies may be general and relative to San Mateo Community College District. However, we do have student testimonies which these findings can support. Next slide, please. Jess?
Yes. Oh, I think it froze on my screen. But social justice aspect of smaller class sizes. So if we were to have smaller class sizes, this would help students of color, working class students, students with learning differences, and students of other forms of marginalized identities that benefit from smaller class sizes. So if this were to happen, this would allow more individualized interactions between students and professors, qualitative assessments, increase access to professors, and creates a sense of community within the class.
So we had created a survey and presented it to ASCSM as well as the associate students of Skyline, and asked them to present this survey to students at both colleges. And so we were provided with a few testimonials from students that I'll read out. So smaller class sizes allow for a more personal relationship with the professor, and my overall experience is more positive. A smaller class size fosters a more wholesome environment, and I'd like to have more of them. Another student claimed that I prefer smaller classes. In my opinion, it helps me build a better understanding of the material, as well as a better relationship with my professors and classmates. There are times I have questions, but I feel like I'd be bothering my teachers who are already juggling so much as they transition to an online model and juggle hundreds of students for a single course. Finally, another student said smaller class sizes allow for more intimate and personalized learning, but I also enjoy hearing others' ideas and perspectives in larger groups.
And here we will share some of our own personal testimonies. I remember when my class was 7 students one semester. Throughout that entire semester, we all got to know each other really well. We learned how to lean on each other, as well as do small things like bringing everyone snacks. We spent all that time together being able to really build rapport, not just with each other as students, but also with our professor. There was one day in the semester where everyone was feeling stressed out, but no one talked about it. It was our professor who knew us so well at that point who decided to focus on our emotional and mental needs as students. And I don't think our professor would have been able to do that or to realize our struggles if she didn't get to know us all individually as people. And I feel like this is why we should have smaller class sizes. I mean, community colleges are supposed to have smaller class sizes compared to the huge lecture halls at four-year institutions. And when these class sizes are smaller, we get to build rapport with our professors to the point where we feel comfortable to advocate for our needs. When our class sizes are small, our professors don't become overloaded with the needs of 100 students in one class, 30 students in another class, and 10 to 40 students in another. By creating a smaller class size in which students can create meaningful connections with their professors and peers, professors are able to really support each individual student for them to be successful without feeling burnt out.
Hello, everybody. This is Jess. So this is my 4th year here at Skyline College. I have encountered great people who have shared the same passion and thrive as me, being active members of society. Having made unique connections, I have developed a strong sense of community. Skyline was a place where I can make friends and demonstrate my passion for a social change. However, I have become accustomed to learning in a classroom setting of 50 students like me, eager to learn. I have encountered days where teachers have not gotten through the whole lectures to answer students' questions, to days where I'm seeking a sense of belonging in the classroom just because of the limited of time and accessibility with professors and classmates. Last semester, I enrolled in an online history class that was suited to my flexibility. Discussions were a big part of the course, so it was essential to communicate with each class member and respond. I was shocked to know I participated in discussions that with numerous students. I would come across discussions where it would have at least 100 to 150 unread responses. I felt like I was a part of a box of 150 or more peers while trying to find our way through the class material. I've begun to develop a habit of turning in homework assignments late due to the overwhelming response. I was unable to successfully be a part of a classroom and start a discussion with so many people. I began to develop a habit of turning in homework late because of the motivation I lacked. So I do thrive when I am comfortable asking questions about understanding lectures and sharing thoughts with a close-knit community. I am most confident that creating a smaller community per teacher can motivate students to continue learning. Additionally, smaller class size can assist students who have been historically marginalized in higher education again. This will help better the learning environment, build stronger relationships, and provide a better accessibility to specialized help for each student. Thank you for your time.
And one thing that we would like to highlight is that we are not the only students who have pushed for smaller class sizes. In the recent summer, CSM Student Forum had recommendations about the benefits of smaller class sizes, and here are some that were very similar to ours. We want our instructors to worry about us. We want to hire faculty that are student-centered and want to engage with students of color. And lastly, smaller class sizes. We want smaller class sizes so faculty will have more time for us, just like Michael and Jess mentioned in their testimonies.
Hi, so I'd like to provide a closing statement. As faculty continue to be overworked in larger classes, students will continue to feel neglected and alienated from their academic journey. Large class sizes serve as an obstacle for SMCCD students and ultimately prevent us from receiving a quality education that faculty and administration alike have fought hard to provide for our community. In a large class, it is easy to feel like a cog in a machine. Checking off assignments and attending lectures becomes a chore with little attachment towards what you're learning, how you're learning, who you're learning it from, and who you're learning it with. The learning process in a larger classroom is oppressive and only serves to further restrict students at SMCCD, such as students of color, students with disabilities, and students that come from working class families, who already deal with many other institutional and systemic obstacles. The connection formed between professors and peers in a classroom of modest size is severed in a large classroom where one is but a minnow in a large school of fish. Those who struggle get lost in the crowd and fall prey to any number of internal or external obstacles that will disrupt their education. Programs such as counseling and tutoring may provide some much needed respite, but without an engaging and intimate learning environment, it can be hard to feel motivated to complete assignments, show up to class, or even feel driven enough to seek external help outside of the classroom. While it would be great for all students to share Michael's experience in a small class of 7 students, we also understand that it is not sustainable for all classes to share the same size. However, we feel that it is unacceptable that students are falling behind and will continue to do so when confronted with overwhelming class sizes. On top of this, COVID-19 has largely changed how we interact with our education. The obvious deficiencies that are present in a fully online academic experience are exacerbated with the stress surrounding the pandemic. We think that one of the best ways to mitigate such problems is for students to feel like they matter and that they're supported by faculty and students that they interact with on a near daily basis. Without the opportunity to meet in person, students have limited access to the typical classroom environment. These shortcomings are further pronounced in larger classes where office hours may be congested with many other students and there is little time for informal conversations with faculty and students alike. Such conversations are necessary for building rapport and trust that keeps both parties motivated. Consequently, smaller class sizes are crucial for student success, as not only will students have more access to resources within the course, but amidst hardships surrounding the pandemic, they will be able to maintain their hope and drive to continue their academic careers. While we understand that establishing smaller class sizes is not the most cost-effective action, we ask that the Board of Trustees think beyond monetary gains and losses. A student's education should not be contingent on statistics and margins of profit. Us students are entitled to an academic experience that makes us feel respected and appreciated. Unfortunately, when classrooms are crowded and in-class resources are scarce, we feel that we are treated like merchandise, harvested for revenue to the business of higher academia. We are people who are ready and eager to learn, but are hindered by the very institution that is supposed to teach us and give us tools to better our world. We ask that you strongly consider providing students with courses that have reduced class sizes and implement this request as soon as possible. We refuse to remain silent as we experience and see our peers experience strife and conflict that is further aggravated by the obstacles present in overcrowded classes. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to open up the floor of questions. Do we have any time remaining?
Can we take away the screen so that I can see if there's anybody that wants to ask a question at this time? Thank you. Any questions or comments from our fellow board members? Trustee Holliver?
Well, just I appreciate the presentation, and I think it really was very well done and very, very solid points were made by everyone. I think my question is really sort of a process kind of question. So this is an AFT presentation. At least my understanding, this is representative of AFT's official position on this. Just want to make sure that that is accurate. Has AFT raised this at, I'm just curious, in the negotiation process? Just maybe a question through the chair for our chancellor or for AFT to respond.
I do know they referred to a resolution, and so that I think the board members all received. I don't know if that's strictly from AFT or I don't have it in front of me. Chancellor Claire, would you like to respond?
Trustee Holliver, thank you so much, and I may have to defer to Mitch Bailey because I'm not actually at the table every day, but class size is a bargaining issue, and so I think it's appropriately discussed at the bargaining table, in my opinion. I have been pleased, frankly, with the work between the Academic Senate and the administration, and I think by extension the AFT in trying to work out class sizes during the pandemic. I think we also owe it to the board at some point to provide our research on the correlation between class size, which I believe is about average class size across the district. It's about 27 students per class right now. That's average. I realize that some are bigger, some are smaller. And student success. I think that's important that we put that out for discussion and review as well. But to answer your question, I believe class size in the context of the MOUs have been discussed in bargaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? The only comment I will make is I want to compliment the students. I think you put together an absolutely terrific presentation. You make me proud that you're all students here at this district. So your cause is well taken, but I think your faculty are doing a wonderful job in education with your education. So keep it up. And I think we will move on from this at this time. I don't see any other hands raised or comments. But thank you for this, and I'm sure that everybody will be talking about this item in a future time. We will now move to new business. 20-11-1A, approval of personnel item changing assignment, compensation, placement leaves.
So moved.
Thank you very much. I need a motion, which I have, and a second, please.
Second.
Goodman, thank you. Staff, is this the one? Staff has asked to, okay, am I getting confused? No. Staff has asked to correct one technical error on the personnel report under section C for the position to be filled by Nellie Manuel. She will be replacing Grace Gooley, who retired, not Rita Gooley, who was listed on the report. No, it's not taken. David Fune is always with us to answer any questions if board members have them. Are there any public comments? Any questions from board members? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. 20-11-2A, the adoption of resolution number 20. Wait.